may run their new members through some tutorial. The key factor in all of these is they're lacking one thing: the human touch.
While some people may enjoy reading a bunch of stuff, others would prefer to ask questions and get specific answers, as well as a more personalized answer. Having someone to guide you through the process, show you how things work, and teach you things that may be a bit more obscure can really go a long way to making the member feel welcomed. This is something that Ethiverse has recognized from the very beginning and has had some form of a human guide program since then. One of the key aspects that guides have been providing are tours. This is one of the core aspects of the guide program that we still try very hard to encourage today. Having an actual person guiding you around the site and adapting it to your personal needs is something that really sets Ethiverse apart from other virtual worlds.
Originally, guides were members who had chosen to help other members in an official manner. Like I was mentioning earlier. Basically, I said, I'd like to help. He said, here you go, have at it. This overlying theme has remained throughout the program, but has been supplemented with more structure as the site grew. It started with members just showing people where things are and how things worked.
And once the site started to grow, the program needed to grow with it. Thus, a fundamental set of guidelines was developed as a way to keep everyone on the same page and ensure that the ones chosen to be part of the program did so with a set of standards. With these standards came the first vestiges of structure to our program. It was becoming a true program with the express purpose of helping members to better enjoy the site. After time, it was decided to appoint some from the ranks to shepherd the program and find the best of the best for the team.
The community supervisor role was born, created with the goal of growing the program, the team with a high set of standards. This move would be the first to set it apart as a truly dedicated team of helpers, and not simply as a group of members with a badge. As with any new endeavor, there's a few bumps in the road. The program began to move in a direction that in some ways went counter to its primary goal. So it was this realization that brought about a soft reboot of the program.
It started with the reworking of the guidelines and better enforcement. New heads of the program took the reins and began setting a more concrete foundation for a program dedicated to helping the members. Developing a more fine-tuned application process, being more selective with the applicants chosen, and establishing a chain of command helped us to firm up the walls and once again move the program forward. The community supervisor role has since been replaced with the staff moderator role, and there are 4 of us who currently fill that role, SG, Vixen, Tones, and myself. And we help to oversee the program as well as communicate with World Ops.
With the growth of the site came the need to centralize the areas the helpers could be found. The Welcome Center was created as the landing spot for all new members and as a central location for finding our guides. Now there is a specific location members can go at any time for help, with small areas for dancing, sitting, drinking, and more. It was a great learning spot for new members.
Now, skip ahead to today. Our guides help our members from the Welcome Center, and with the staff search, it's easier to find help when it's needed. But what if we could help even more? What if we could actually reach people easier than waiting for them to come to us? Sometimes going back to your roots is needed to keep things fresh and adapt to changes that have occurred over the years. So, how do we do this? Starting today, our guides will once again be free to find our members, not just in the Welcome Center, but also in the transport centers. They will also be welcome to join the new members' parties. There's about 2 of them, I think, during the week, and then there's the Triple X Ambassador new member party, I think twice a month. In order to better help anyone that needs it. We're hopeful that this will prove even more fruitful when helping out new members.
We've mentioned helping quite a bit during this presentation. The entire guide program, from guides up to community moderators, is all here for the purpose of helping members. We're fortunate that we have a huge community of people that want to be helpers in some way. Some members can come to us wanting to help, but aren't interested in the strict formalities involved. While we can't relax those limitations, we are appreciative of all who want to help in a more official manner. We do understand that having a more official means to help others could prove beneficial to some. This is why we are pleased to introduce a brand new starter role to the Guide program today, the Helper role. This role will be the new role that accepted applicants will be placed in. The role will allow members to help with a less strict level of access and serve as a training ground of sorts too. Of course, there will be some guidelines that will still need to be followed, but it will be designed for those who want to help but without all of the restrictions that come with being a guide.
This role will be a bit different than any we've introduced to date and is the biggest addition to the program as a whole in several years. For starters, this role will function on its own to a point. Members will be allowed to help in a more relaxed manner and can remain in that role indefinitely if they choose to. If a person decides they want to be a guide, then there will be a process at a later date to assess their suitability for promotion. While we won't be handing out this role just yet, all additions to the team from this point on will start out with the helper role rather than starting out as a guide. They're going to start out as helpers first. After this role comes the future. We're looking to make even more additions to help make the guide role both beneficial and enjoyable. There are no definites at this time, but here are a few things that we are hoping to implement, dev time depending.
Guide and tour surveys. Once a guide completes a tour, one idea we've had is to have a survey in order to see just how well the tour went so that the member can express it went well, it went great, here's the things they were doing great, here's the things that maybe need a little work. Guide ratings. A simple rating system such as a thumbs up or down to give another look at how the guides are doing. This could be used to also show members how well this guide is done and perhaps be tied to some sort of reward system in the future. It wouldn't, however, be used to negatively affect the volunteer. Volunteer gifts. Special gifts specifically for guides and perhaps other volunteer roles. This could be a way for members to commend the guides or thank them for a good job. And keep in mind, like we mentioned, these are just things we're brainstorming. They could or could not in the future appear, but they are something that we are hoping to try to get working.
So with that, we hope you enjoyed the brief history of the guide program. Hopefully you gained some appreciation for the unique program for members that Utherverse holds so dear. We're excited to see how the new role will work to enhance the experience for both new and current members. And if you think you might be interested in joining our team or just want a little bit more information before diving in, stop by our booth in Hall 9 and say hi. We look forward to seeing everyone.
All right, now we'll open it up for questions.
I think instructors can.
I believe so. We will have to double check that, but I mean, you're more than welcome to message us afterwards, and we'll be glad to give you a definite on that. As for the different account for helper, that's one of the little fine details we're going to have to work out. But by the time that someone does apply, and if they are accepted, then we will let them know one way or another what they will need to do to go ahead and do that. But that is one of the things we've still got to work on.
As for required amount of time, World Ops we've never given our guides, leaders, protectors, or community moderators a set schedule or even a certain amount of time. We do have a benchmark that we like for them to meet so that you're hopefully in we don't give that benchmark out though. We just, we want you to be able to log in and badge up when you can and if you can. Real life always comes first. We always tell that to all of our volunteers. Um, Ambassadors, I'm not sure. You'd have to talk to Southern Charm. She would know if ambassadors have a set required amount of time. Theirs might be a little bit different because since they do have scheduled events throughout the week, they may have some form of guideline that they do have to follow. But as for our guides, and I believe even the helper even more, since that's going to be a less restrictive role, we don't have, you're not going to be on a schedule.
Okay. As for if you were a guide before, no, for former guides, yeah, we'll work with you on that. It's not a you don't necessarily have to be a helper first. So we'll we'll work with you on that if you do apply again. As for being both a guide and a helper, no, because the helper is kind of the stepping point.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a guide, then you're wanting to make that commitment to go ahead and help in an even more official form. So the helper is just for starting and learning. Yeah, it's basically kind of like you can't be a guide and a protector at the same time. They're two different aspects of the same role. So yeah, no, helper and then guide.
And if someone's currently a guide and they decide that they prefer to be a helper instead, that's okay too. But you would have to choose one over the other.
And yeah, and like we mentioned too, if people want to be a helper and they want to stay as a helper from then on, you're more than welcome to. That's actually what that role was intended for. Mm-hmm. But we also want you to be able to move into the program more if you'd like to.
And especially because sometimes we have members who want to be a guide, but they aren't so sure and they want to see first what it would entail. The helper role would kind of give them a little bit of practice and give them a little bit of a taste of what it might be like. Again, it's not as restrictive, so they won't know every single little thing, but it will give them a taste, and they may decide it's not for them. They may decide they don't want to be a helper either and just quit that, but they may decide to jump in and apply to be a guide because they decide it's what they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and there's some people that's came to us over the years too that I want to be a guide, but there's this reason or this reason or this reason why I really it's too much for me. I just want to help in a more official capacity. This basically lets them do that.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
The color of text, with the helper role, you're basically just getting the badge. Your color text and everything will stay the same. That is one stipulation. We don't want people getting these badges just to have the badge. Unfortunately, there are people that do that. They, guess kind of badge collectors. So they want the badge, they want the role, but they don't really want to put in the work or do that. So yeah, this is for people who genuinely want to help and they want at least something above their head saying, hey, I am here to help you. Come help. Mm-hmm. If you become a guide, then yes, you will start getting, the different colored chat, things like that.
Any other questions? Before we start our song and dance number? I'm kidding. We're not singing and dancing. We're going to spare you guys our singing. And also, while we're on the subject, we will be having a couple of little mini workshops tomorrow and Sunday. Tomorrow will be the guide and leader workshop just to give you a little bit of a background as to what our guides, leaders, and protectors do kind of on a daily basis. Obviously, we can't touch on every single little thing because there's just no time for that. But just to give you an idea in case you're still kind of trying to decide, and because some people want to be guides but don't really know what the role entails other than they stand in the welcome center and help people. But this will give you a little bit more of a background as for that. So come check those out too.
All right. Anyone else? Going once.
Sold.
Okay,
Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the convention, and we look forward to seeing you later on.
Make sure you go to all the halls. There's a lot of really good booths out there.
Thank you. Oh yeah, Dr. Pepper.
We'll be signing autographs. If anyone wants to come forward and get an autograph.
375 rays for autographs, 500 rays for autographs and a picture. So
yes. Ken, you can see Ken about the pictures. Ken's like, yeah, this was a big mistake.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream.
Body part signing is an additional 1,000 rays, but we can do it.
Yes, we can sign butts and boobs. We encourage the boobs. Men, if you want to show us your chest, we'll be willing. Well, I'll be willing to sign those on about SG, but I'll go.
Show them to me.
Sure, Dave.
Show them to me.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right there.
Have fun, everyone.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a good one, peeps.
Jr. Thank you for watching my stream. Please click on that follow button. Please also hit the little bell notification and to come follow me. But I do want to point out those little links there. Please go to those links if you want to get more info. And please come to my Patreon page and support me if you enjoy my work and all. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, alright. And I'll see everyone later. I'm going to go see what the next one is. Bye now.